The presidential candidates are neck and neck in the polls. Vice President Harris holding a lead of just under 4 points over former President Trump, according to the latest numbers from The Hill and Decision Desk HQ. Voter enthusiasm among Democrats has shot up 23 percentage points since Vice President Harris was placed at the top of the ticket. According to Gallup, they had a lot of room to grow, room to go there. Meanwhile, voter enthusiasm among Republicans reportedly up 5 percentage points. Data science director with our partners at Decision Desk HQ, Scott Tranter, is with us right now. I want to know about what you're thinking and what you're seeing in the facts in these numbers. How much this debate between President Trump and Vice President Harris could be a now or never moment, similar to what it was like when President Biden was on the debate stage?
Well, like if we break it down, the last time we had a debate, we had a candidate who was far ahead in our averages in our forecast. That was Donald Trump. That debate switched it, and now VP Harris has a slight edge. And as you pointed out, in Wisconsin, a state that went Democrat or Republican the last two presidential elections, that one's razor thin as well. So what I would say is this debate could move, could flip the race again. Also, North Carolina starts voting next week. A lot of these states are going to put their early voting, absentee balloting in the next 10 days. So this is no longer time for punditry. People are voting, and so that's why this debate is probably the last big chance, although there's always surprises in October, for either candidate to solidify or try and gain a lead.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I think a lot of Americans are looking at their screens thinking, is this reality? Is this all really happening? Because it's been such a strange, historic time. How much has Decision Desk looked into how Ms. Harris is leading among women and Mr. Trump is leading among men, and the percentages within certain groups mattering more this year?
Yeah, VP Harris has really shored up support among Democratic women, independent women. She's also shored up support among African-American men and women. You know, this was a segment that Donald Trump was making some inroads in under Joe Biden, and it's clear in the crosstab she's clawing it back. Now, Hispanic men and women are a different story. It looks like Donald Trump is continuing to do quite well, 25-30% of that segment, which is well for Republicans. So they're certainly battling it out among these various important voter groups down the stretch. And, all these races, all these states are within a point or two. So these types of small movements are going to matter.
I want to talk about ad spending. We just put up the graphic, but we can put it back up again. Both parties spending about $70 million or more in Pennsylvania alone, where Vice President Harris reportedly has a lead of just under a percentage point. How much do political ads really play out? I mean, I think that more people are getting their news and their information in different ways, and it would have to be a really snazzy ad to change their mind at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, political ad spending has been something we've looked at for the past 50 years. Now that, the millennials and the Gen Xers are squarely in that high propensity voter category, I'm not necessarily sure they're watching as much TV as they were before, but these campaigns are certainly betting on it. Let me zoom in on that Pennsylvania number you have there. Both campaigns are about neck and neck at $70 million. We're not talking about a Florida, Texas, or California. We're talking about a Pennsylvania there where these campaigns are doing. The reason why they're doing that is whichever candidate wins Pennsylvania has about an 86% chance of being the next president. That's how close and important Pennsylvania is, and that's why we see that's such a big number there.
Real quick, Scott, what's the most underrated state in this year's election?
Oh, man, it's going to be North Carolina. This was a state that was solidly in Donald Trump's category when Biden was president. It has slipped into toss-up category in our forecast, as VP Harris is making some inroads there. It's had a lot of people move into the state over the last 4 years because of COVID and all the different remote job opportunities. That is a state that I think could surprise us. And if VP Harris is able to pick off North Carolina, oh, man, we're in for a long election week, as that really scrambles the map.
Yeah, we're going to have a fun ride, a roller coaster of sorts, all of us. Thank you very much, Scott Tranter. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.